Who do I have on Zoom? If you're on Zoom, pipe up. Tell me who you are. Who am I talking to?
Michelle is here.
Hey, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hey, Jordan. Good. How are you?
So good. You guys, this is the one time I'm teaching Ignite this year. Tell Carl that. Tell me slacked off and didn't get me any students, so I'm not teaching ever again. It rained, so everyone's just like, we're just gonna stay home today. All right, well, we're gonna get started. So today we are talking all about, oh my gosh, we're talking about set goals that matter. So we're really gonna kind of dive into your goals and plans for your real estate business, what you want that to be, and kind of help you build the business plan out on how to achieve those goals. So if you have any questions, Michelle, pipe in. Otherwise, we will just get started. Not sure what Zoom is doing to me today.
I can hear you fine.
Can you see the slides though?
What was that? Yeah, I can see the slides now.
Okay, perfect. It like kicked out for some reason on my end. All right. Well, so what successful agents do every day is two things basically, right? They do things to grow their business and then to run their business. So in order to grow your business every day, you should lead generate for buyers and sellers, make seller listing presentations and get listings, make buyer presentations and get buyers, and then preview real estate. In order to run your business, and the operation side of it is going to consist of marketing your listings, showing homes to buyers, negotiating contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, setting goals, compliance and risk management, attend trainings, get coaching, and manage your money. Does that make sense? There's a lot more that goes into being a real estate agent than HGTV tells you, isn't there? Well, today, really on the grow side of your business, we're going to talk about lead generating for buyers and sellers. And on the run side of your business, we're going to talk about goals and attending training and getting coaching. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. How many of you have a big goal for your life? You do. What is your big goal for your life? Okay, so you have a vision for your life. What is that vision? Okay, so that's a goal like right now, but what's that vision? What do you want your life to be about? Okay. In life, because so let me preface it with this. Here at Keller Williams, our mission statement for the company is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving, right? So yes, we're the real estate company that's going to help you build a big business that's going to fund that wealth and that lifestyle and all those other things. But that's not why we're here. We're here to help you achieve a business worth owning, a life worth living, experiences worth giving, a legacy worth leaving. So when setting goals around real estate and what you want your career and business in real estate to look like, we've got to know where we're going, right? Alice in Wonderland has the infamous quote that when she asks the Cheshire Cat, there's like tons of feedback if I stand right there. She asks the Cheshire Cat, what path should I take? And he says, well, that depends on where you want to go. She goes, well, I don't know. And she goes, well, then any path will get you there. And so that's the concept in real estate and in life in general. If you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there. There's a million different jobs. If you walk around to the state of Utah right now, I guarantee you almost any place you walk into has a sign that says now hiring. So why are you choosing to work in real estate? Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. It empowers you to utilize your God-given talents and abilities to fund your perfect life. So in order to set a goal around real estate and what we want to accomplish in real estate, we've got to know, what are we even working towards? What are we trying to accomplish, right? And so that's what that statement is who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. So if I know I want to get to a certain place in life, that's going to determine how I'm going to get there, right? You've mentioned wealth and financial success multiple times. What does that look like for you? Okay. What part of California? Okay. So if you could wave the magic wand, you got to pick any spot in California you get to live in. Which one would it be? Okay. Okay. So a house on the hill in Calabasas or in Beverly Hills. Okay. So what about that's important to you? So part of it's the pride of accomplishing that goal. How much does it cost to live on the hills in Calabasas or in Beverly Hills? Okay. Is it 1 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? Okay. 5 to 7 million. Okay. So what kind of income would you have to have in order to afford a $5 to $7 million home? Okay. So if you made $500,000 a year, could you afford that kind of a home? That's like $45,000 a month. So that's the whole concept, right? Is we have to have that vision for our life of where do we want to go? Where do we want to end up? That's how you set a goal that matters. And my point in that whole thought process of think big about your life. Don't apologize for wanting a house on the hills of Calabasas. I set a goal when I first got into real estate that I wanted to be a millionaire by my 30th birthday. At the time I calculated my net worth, I was negative $6,000. I was like, this is going to be a long journey. I'm just shy of 600,000. I'm 26. So had I set a really small goal of like, man, I just want to own one house someday in my life. And if I set the goal of someday in my life, I want to own my own home. That's an action. That's a goal. I'm thinking about something, right? And I've set a goal. Over time, I'm going to achieve that. I'm a firm believer that everyone in their life will become a millionaire at some point. It's just a matter of whether or not you'll be alive to see it. You put 1 penny in a savings account at any bank and leave it there long enough, it'll turn into $1 million. It might take 800 years, but it'll turn into $1 million. But if you change the way you think and you think with bigger outcomes and bigger mindsets and bigger opportunities, and you attach a why behind that. So that's why I always ask the question when someone tells me, I want to own a Lamborghini, I want to make $1 million, I want to own a house in the hills in Calabasas. What is that going to do for you? Because that is your big why. That's your driving force of why do you show up every day? Because real estate, you'll experience very quickly. There's a lot of highs and a lot of lows. There's a lot that can show up and be awesome in real estate. And then there's a lot of days that suck and you don't want to do it and you don't want to get out of bed. And guess what? No one's going to make you. So you have to be committed to the vision you have for your life. So I would challenge anyone in real estate and anyone in life in general, think bigger. So a house in Calabasas on the hills is pretty big. When do you want that house? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, and all work fills the time allotted, right? So if you set that goal, Gary Keller says that you can be anywhere you want in 5 years. I will just crossed my 5-year mark in real estate. You can be anywhere you want in 5 years. I got my real estate license the end of 2016. So I really started real estate January of 2017. We're now in March of 2022. I drive the car I wanted. I own 3 homes. I'm well on my way to achieving my $1 million net worth goal by the end of this year. You can be anywhere you want in 5 years as long as you have a plan on how to get there. And that's the concept of what this slide is showing, is that if you think small outcomes, your actions are going to match that. So even if you think with a massive outcomes of like owning a house in Calabasas on the hills, let's say it's $10 million. Even if you don't get there in 5 years, but you get there in 6, the actions required to achieve that and the trajectory you will establish for your life is far greater than that of what small outcomes demand of you. So push your thinking bigger and then create the plan and the actions and habits that support that kind of a vision for your life, and anything is possible. So we're going to take a minute. Is this going to click? So we're going to take a minute, and I want you to, this should be on page 3 in your guide. I want you to write in those 5 boxes, what do you want your life to be about? What are some goals? And these don't necessarily have to have a specific time frame on them, but what are some goals you have in your life if you something you want to achieve at some point? The house in Calabasas for $7 million could be one of them. It could be paying off your parents' mortgage. It could be buying your parents a car. It could be funding your kids, your future children or current children's retirement plan, or not retirement, but college plan. What are those major milestones for your life that you're like, yes, that gets me out of bed every morning? Maybe it's getting that dream car of yours. Maybe it's the dream house. Maybe it's being able to take those kinds of vacations. What does your life look like, and what is the price tag attached to each of those? So I want you to put something in each of those 5 boxes. You following along, Michelle?
Yep. And just making cheese quesadillas and painting my dining room. It's awesome.
Wow, all the things. What are some of the big goals in your life?
Mine? Well, my husband and I kind of make goals together, and he's working on getting a ranch right now. That's probably our biggest goal.
Getting a ranch. So how much is your ranch going to cost?
It's $2.5 million.
Okay. So you need $2.5 million. Are you financing it?
It's for his company, so he's getting an investor.
Okay.
But do you want to hear a cool story about the ranch?
I'd love to hear your cool story about the ranch.
Oh, wait, Ricky. Sorry. So I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he does like a lot of meditation and stuff, and like, oh, why can't I think of the word right now? Manifesting type things, which I need to be better at. But he writes all his goals, and he reads his goals every day and rewrites them and whatever. And he put on his goals that he would have a ranch funded and closed on by June 15th of this year. So we found a ranch that he wanted, or that his company wanted, I guess. And they're working with an investor right now. And we're going to close on it originally at May 18th, but then the guy wouldn't do a survey. So then by the time we got him to agree to a survey, he said, well, I'll do the survey if I have until June 15th to do it. So our close date is June 15th. And that's the day that he said he was going to have a ranch by. Thought that was kind of crazy.
Pretty impressive. If you put it out there to the universe will get it right back to you. That's incredible. How are we doing on our goals? Put numbers to it. Okay. So what are some of your goals? Okay, which one? Okay. How much does it cost? Okay. What does a lot look like? Once a month? Once Okay. So be out of town at least one weekend per month, and then maybe 1 week-long trip every couple of months. Okay, well, flights are probably going to be what? Okay. Probably going to need a place to stay, potentially a rental car. Probably going to want to do some activities in the city. Okay, those week-long trips are probably going to be more. So we're going to break that down. But so let's figure out some of those numbers, right? For you to drive that Mercedes, for you to be able to travel where you want to and accomplish some of these other goals, what does your annual income need to be to pay for that? So the car, it sounds like $6,000 a year. For what? Okay, well, are you buying the house this year? Okay. So how much is the house going to cost you? What's the purchase price? Okay. How much are you putting down on it? You're going to put 50,000 down on a $10 million loan. Is that $10 million house a this year goal, or is that a year goal? Okay. So that's probably not on this year's list. Okay, well, part of that, when you get to that point, part of it is you're going to put a significant amount down, most likely. You're going to have other investments and income opportunities and things that you're going to build up and put a couple million down, likely, on a home like that. And then when you actually purchase it, financing it, you're probably going to be between $5,000 and $10,000 a month, depending on how much you put down and what you buy it for. So let's say, okay, $15,000 a month for the house. So you're going to have $240,000 a year for the house, $6,000 a year for your car. Plus your travel budget, plus just everyday life. How much you spend on groceries, on gas, on clothing, on those kinds of things. And come up with kind of a rough budget, right? Okay. I mean, you tell me, is that your number? $300,000 gets you the life you want to live 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Okay, well, let's dive in and talk about what it would look like to fund that. So where does your money go when you close a commission check? Do you know? You close a transaction, there's a gross commission income, right? There's costs associated with that, though, right? So likely, if I'm the listing agent and I take a 6% commission, I'm paying 3% of that to a buyer's agent, or maybe 2.5. So half of it disappears right there. If I'm the buyer's agent, I'm collecting that other half. Then I have to give a portion of my market center. Then I have to pay all of my business expenses, and I get to take home that portion. So it's important to remember that when you're looking at that commission check, I don't get that full 3%. Up. I have to pay my business expenses, and then I have my portion. So knowing that, let's get real. What would it look like to fund? So what's your goal this year to make in commissions? How much do you want / need to fund your life by design today on the way to funding your life by design in the future with that $10 million house and all those things? Okay. Well, what's the number, right? Like you've got car, gas, food, business expenses. I mean, you tell me whatever that number looks like for you. Everyone's different. For me, just to maintain my current lifestyle where I'm at, I'm about $80,000 a year. If I want to go elevate that lifestyle or go continue to make investments and one day grow up to be like Garrison, I've got to make a lot more than that. He doesn't even hear me. He is lost in his phone. But once you know that number, we can then work the math backwards to the simple math of how much you need to close in a month, right? So we're going to look at it this way. If you wanted to make a net income of $100,000, move this. So if you wanted to make a net income of $100,000, you're going to add in the $18,000, which is your cap, right? That's the money you're going to pay to Keller Williams for the honor of being in business with us. It's pretty cheap. You're then assuming you're at a $100,000 gross commission income, $100,000 net income goal, probably going to be right around $20,000, $25,000 in business expenses between listing signs and photography and your MLS dues, your board dues, and anything else. You're going to be somewhere in that ballpark. It may be less as a newer agent. If you pay for more marketing and things like that, you may be more than that. So grand total, if you want to take home $100,000, you're probably going to need to make about 143. So first, I always like to get clear on why do you want to make $100,000? What's that going to pay for? What kind of lifestyle is that going to support? Are we driving the new Tesla to work every day? Are we going on lavish vacations? Are we buying investment properties with that money? What's it going for? And then now we know, okay, I've got to make $143,000. Well, the average purchase price in Utah County right now is right about $500,000. Meaning your average commission check is about $12,000 before any splits or anything like that. So if I take my 143 and divide it by 12,000, I have to close about 12 transactions for me to take home $100,000 this year. One a month. And do you understand the math behind that? So your homework today is to go home and figure out what is your budget. What does it cost to run your business? What does it cost for you to live the lifestyle you want this year? And figure out what's that number. Plan for taxes too. Taxes are going to take about 20 to 30% of it. Then add in the cap, add in your business expenses, whatever you anticipate that being, at least your board dues, your MLS dues, and your brokerage costs. I would add at least a little bit for marketing and photography and some of those things. But whatever that is, it may be less than that, it may be more than that. If it's more than that, we probably need to adjust what you're spending on your business. Figure out that total. Then divide that by your average GCI. So if you know your sphere of influence and your database is going to feed you more of like the $400,000 buyers, and your commission is going to be closer to like $9,000 or $10,000 per check, then do the math on that. If you know you're in a high price point, you only list properties over $1 million and your average commission check is $50,000, then we have a totally different conversation. Does that make sense? But getting really clear on what's that net income goal funding and paying for, and then working the math backwards. Does 12 transactions a year sound intimidating? One a month. Is it that hard to get one deal a month? But if I told you one deal a month will fund your perfect life this year, is that a different feeling? Like, man, I can make $100,000. Most people with a college degree don't make $100,000 their first year. So that's the math. And then doing the activities. So there's the 80-20 principle. Have any of you guys heard this principle before in any other classes? They probably have talked about it. But it's the idea that not everything matters equally. So in order for you to achieve those 12 closed transactions a year and net income of $100,000 or whatever your math breaks out to be, what are the 20% activities you need to ensure you're doing every day and every week? Okay. Classes, open houses, the 36 touch. Yeah. What? Marketing. Yeah. Social media. Whatever your strategy is around how you're going to lead generate and get new business. I wake up every day with one simple question. How can I get another buyer or another listing today? What's the one thing I can do such by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? In today's market, it's taking another listing. If I can take a listing every day or try to take a listing every day, even if I only succeed one day a week and I'm taking 4 listings a month, do you think I'm going to hit my goal? What are the chances of a listing not selling in today's market? Like 1% of 1%. So that's always the question I ask myself. What's the one thing I can do such by doing it, everything else will be unnecessary? There's a lot of things you could do in a day in real estate, right? You could hang out with your friends, you could go to lunch, you could pursue all these different activities and things. You could hold, open houses may be a great lead generation source for you. For me, they were terrible. That's just the honest fact. I'm not good at open houses. So for me, it was not the most effective use of my time. Not that being said, there are a lot of agents that make a lot of money from open houses. So find what works really well for you and go do that every day. Like I said, lead generate for buyers and sellers. Do any of you have a GPS for your business? Have you guys talked about GPSs before? Or a 135? Okay. I would challenge you to always have your GPS in front of you at your office, at home, wherever you can put it that you'll see it every day. But it's your one-page business plan of how are you going to achieve that goal. Your GPS then dictates what goes on your 411, which is your 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. So what is your 1 year goal? And then what are you doing each week in order to move closer to achieving that 1 year goal? Or each month, excuse me. So your goal is to close 12 transactions for $100,000 in gross commission income this year. Then your monthly goal should be to at least close 1 transaction per month. So if your goal is to close 1 transaction in the month of March, what do you need to do the next 2 weeks to ensure you close a transaction or at least put one under contract to close in the next 2 weeks? So it's really breaking that down. You see what we're doing there is you're breaking down these big goals of like making $100,000 may sound this really big, audacious goal. I have no idea how the hell I'm going to do that. But if I can break it down to, hey, if I just talk to 10 people, I will set an appointment. If I set 3 appointments, I will take one listing. If I take one listing, I close my one deal. So it's really working down to what's that lead measure you can focus on every single day that will fund the goal you have. Does that make sense on how to fill out that 411? Perfect. And then the last piece of it is find accountability. So that's why I say put your 411 and your GPS up where you're going to see it every day. I would review it every day, focus on it, and maintain that focus of what are you trying to fund? So select a percentage of your goal. If your goal is to make $100,000 this year, say, okay, cool. $20,000 of that is going to go into an investment account that I'm going to use to someday buy that house in the hills. Or I'm going to use this money to then fund my car. So get really clear on what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go, and then find someone to hold you accountable along the way. Carl is a great resource for that right now. Tell him your goals, give him your 411 and your GPS, and have him review it with you. And have him follow up with you and ask you and be accountable to him. Go seek him out and say, hey, I just want to let you know, here's how I did this week. Because accountability will drive you to achieving your results faster than anything else. Well, I know that was super quick. There's only like 2 of us in here. So thoughts, questions? You're listening? You're just so lost in your, I can never tell. Why are we stressed? I thought you didn't do those. Oh, such a sweet soul. Never go against your values, no matter who's asking. All right. Well, any questions, thoughts, concerns, ahas that you guys had? Cool. Well, I know that was super short and sweet, but if you have any questions, let me know. I'm glad you were able to listen at least a little bit, Garrison, while you sort through your residential deal. If you need help from an expert, let me know. I'll just